Today on this episode of Pretty Spooky Presents Creating Scaradise, we'll leave the safe harbor of the Sunken Compass, my home bar, and venture into the unknown. We'll jump in the Zoom buggy to get the supplies for the seasonal grave flowers I create to adorn my family's tombstones. Then we'll head back to the Sunken Compass to enjoy a Death in the Afternoon cocktail while I create the grave flowers, chat about some of my favorite cemeteries, and share cherished images from those visits. And I'll take you with me to install the grave flowers and we'll tour the cemetery together. We're in the Zoom buggy. We're on our way to Walmart first to get the basics. Things like foam, burlap ribbon, other ribbon, and we'll see what they have. If we need to, we'll go to Michael's and maybe even Dollar Store to see what they have as far as seasonal pumpkins and things. Okay, we just pulled into Walmart and I'm hoping that they have what we need. I'm gonna go in there and look for a big block of foam, some burlap ribbon, weatherproof greenery, maybe some flowers and anything fall that I can find, as well as some other ribbon and Spanish moss. So they've got the foam, and they've got the burlap. Okay, good news, we got everything we need in one place. I got the foam, burlap, tulle, ribbon, moss, 2 autumn bouquets, which I'll divide into 4, 2 orange foliage, which I'll divide into 4, 4 orange flower picks, 4 yellow flower picks, and 4 greenery. So we're pretty much set. Just one stop and have everything that we need. Now that we've unpacked our supplies and are back at the Sunken Compass, it's time to enjoy a little Death in the Afternoon while we assemble the grave flowers and talk cemeteries. This cocktail was invented by the legendary author and imbiber Ernest Hemingway, who gave it the same name as his controversial Nobel Prize-winning nonfiction work, Death in the Afternoon. Hemingway's original instructions were: pour 1 jigger absinthe into a champagne glass, add iced champagne until it attains the proper opalescent milkiness. Drink 3 to 5 of these slowly. Today I'll be using 1 ounce absinthe, approximately 6 ounces of dry sparkling white wine, added to a frosty chilled coupe, and enjoy. It seems Petey the Wonder Pup will be keeping us company while we create the grave flowers and chat about cemeteries. He's always down for a good craft and chat session. When it comes to making your own grave flowers, it's important to look up what the cemetery allows. However, most cemeteries will permit gravetop flowers that do not impede lawn care. Just check before you buy the supplies and invest the time. Also, be sure that you're able to return to remove the weathered arrangements, even if you don't plan on replacing them with new flowers. It's sad to see a holiday arrangement still barely hanging on in July. Personally, I'd rather see a bare monument than one with tattered, out-of-season flowers. As a child, the tending to grave sites was done by my grandmother. On the weekend, she loaded up a spade, potted plants, and me, and off to the cemetery we went. At the time, it was just my great-grandparents' graves that we visited and kept. But now, grandparents, aunts, and uncles have joined them. I'm glad to continue her efforts over the last few years, changing the flowers each season, and I think she'd approve. Cemeteries hold so many stories of lives that have shaped our communities and served our nation. While their time on this earth is over, maybe their impression lives on. I love a good southern cemetery full of old oaks dripping in Spanish moss, where there's an abundance of black butterflies dancing in pairs, swirling in the lacy light that filters through the canopy. And for some reason that I cannot explain, I tend to lose small items or forget something at the cemetery. Sometimes it's there when I return. Other times, it's as if the item was never mine to start with. One of my favorites that ranks high on the Spanish moss scale is Greenwood Cemetery in Orlando, Florida. Graves, crypts, mausoleums, and fountains date back to the 1860s. It's lovely to amble between the plots where there are no discernible rows in this seemingly endless lush green expanse. My all-time favorite southern cemetery is Savannah, Georgia's Bonaventure. Once a sprawling 600-acre riverfront plantation with a private cemetery where the original mansion caught on fire during a dinner party in 1771. There was nothing servants could do to stop the blaze, so the host instructed the guests to bring their plates into the garden where they finished their meal and watched the mansion burn to the ground. A brick mansion built as its replacement was also destroyed by fire just 3 decades later. Ironically, Bonaventure means good fortune in French. This hauntingly beautiful land, made even more famous by its role in the novel Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, has seen political unrest, was confiscated by the revolutionary government, and was even an escape route for an expelled royal governor during the American Revolution. There is no other feeling like walking beneath the live oak archways, feeling the breeze flow over the riverbanks and experiencing the otherworldly magic that is Bonaventure. Steeped in turmoil and dripping with beauty, this is the perfect place to spend an eternity. And closer to home, one of the cemeteries I visit has been abandoned since 1944, yet still alluring in its decay. Vines, mosses, and ferns reclaim the land where monuments date back to the late 1800s. Veterans of both sides of the Civil War and the founding city leaders are laid to rest here, along with my great-great-great-grandfather, who was a veteran of the American Civil War. Here I find offerings, sometimes an entire grave covered in hundreds of sweet potatoes mounted about a foot high, and another was covered in the same manner by red cabbage and collard leaves. Many times I encounter new vandalism and broken monuments. But there are just as many kind folks who come to mow and pick up storm debris, even though they have no ancestors on the grounds. It's a land that calls you back again and again.
Okay, we've got all loaded up last night and ready to go today.
Okay, just arrived here at the cemetery. This isn't an abandoned cemetery, so you're going to notice it looks pretty rough. There's lots of tree debris piled up, and it does need to be mowed. Every once in a while, a Good Samaritan or a Boy Scout troop will come in and kind of clean things up. But there's still a lot of beauty here, a lot of history as well. So we'll put up the flowers and take a good look around.
This flower arrangement has seen better days. There's been a lot of rain, made it through the summer. I did decide to blank out the last name for family members who still carry that name, just for family privacy. This is 3 great-grandfathers back on my grandmother's side. These have withstood hurricanes, 2 of them, and I've come back and they're still in place. Lots of hot glue. And there are little lizards that like to live in these things. There's a hook over here, a hook here, a hook on this side, and a hook in the back. Let's take a tour.
just pulled up to cemetery number 2 and it's sunset, so we are losing light and we're about ready to do nighttime in a cemetery. Thank you for joining me on today's haunt jaunt and a little death in the afternoon. I loved being your haunted hostess. You were a wonderful guest and you're welcome back always. Farewell until next time. Cheers.